In our last video, we saw that the effects and power of sin are deep and wide-reaching. Because of sin, we have a guilty record before God. Because of sin, we have corrupt hearts and broken communities and a chaotic world. But sin will not have the final word. Which brings us to our third movement in what I'm calling the biblical symphony, redemption. God promises to provide a redeemer, to destroy the effects and power of sin, and restore relationship with humanity. As he repeats throughout Scripture this promise, I will be your God, and you will be my people. I will be your God, and you will be my people. Now, this promise develops throughout the Old Testament like a tiny acorn grows into a mighty oak tree. And the promises to Abraham, the promises to Moses, the promises to David, these are all stages of development and growth that point to the fullness of this promise coming into bloom, God with us in Jesus Christ. In Jesus, the eternal Son of God became man. As the Gospel of John chapter 1 says, he put on flesh to dwell with us. And that means that Jesus is both fully God and fully human. And that means that his life, death, and resurrection aren't just notable historical events that happened. His life, death, and resurrection were transformative things that change everything for us. Now, Scripture speaks about the redemption that he brings in a number of different images. It speaks of it as a sacrifice of atonement. It speaks of it as his kingdom coming to defeat the kingdom of darkness. It speaks of it as a victory over Satan and a victory over death. It speaks of it as light coming into darkness. It speaks of it as life and love invading our world of death and violence. And all of these wonderful images point to this, that Jesus is not just another religious guru. He's not just another notable leader that's giving us advice about how to be good people. He's a victorious king, bringing us good news of a victory accomplished on our behalf. That in his life, death, and resurrection, forgiveness, transformation, and hope have been brought to our world, have been brought to us. But it doesn't just end there, because Jesus doesn't just announce to us victory. He doesn't just announce to us his good news. He applies it to our life. And we'll look at that much deeper in our next video as we look at the fourth and final movement in the biblical symphony, restoration.